everybody, welcome to my second video. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to draw a face. And we're going to look at eye placement, nose, ears, shading, all that fun stuff. So if you want to follow along exactly, do that. If you want to just go wild and do your own thing, do that. So let's get this party started. In my first video, I discuss what materials I use. So I use my Alvin Draftmatic pencils, and you start with a U shape in the spot where you want the face to be centered. Very rough, we'll clean it up later. And in the middle of that U shape, you start making these rainbow shapes, and those are the tops of the eyes. After that, you make small circles inside those two rainbow shapes. These are the pupils. And if you look right above it, you make a little bit of a lid, not fully across, but just a hint on the sides. Looking at the eyes and deciding where the middle, go straight down and measure between the eye and the chin, and you make the shade of a nose. It's the bottom of the nose. So if you look at the edge of the eye and the edge of the nose, they align. You add shading in between the eyes because this will form the bridge of the nose. Beneath the nose, you shade where you want the top lip to be. It doesn't have to be perfect or look like a lip at this point, but you kind of just make a shape, deciding where you want the edges, and generally they align with the eyes. And then a hint of a shadow beneath that top lip that makes the lower lip look plump. After that, you can go back into the eyes and draw the pupils. And then we go around and decide where the ears are. You look at the top of the eye and the bottom of the nose, and that's where your ears go. They're very flat on the side of the head. We can go in and shape the face a little bit more now that we've placed all the elements within the face. Then over the eye, you can just shade in some eyebrows. They can be straight or angular. I made mine straight. I'm making a part in the middle for her hair, and I've chosen to make the part right at the place where the nose is, so it aligns with the nose. The top of the head kind of follows the shape of the U that you made at the very beginning of the drawing. And you can work in short strokes and clean those up when you're finished. I feel that the short strokes gives you more control and also allows you to come back and clean them up later, since we're working with pencil. The neck goes kind of in the middle where the eyes are, and you can make it as long or as short as you like. And then we go back in and we mark the eyes again. Then we clean up with the eraser the lines that we don't want. Sorry about the light. I brush off the crumbs of the eraser with my reliable brush. And then I go in and redraw the things that were erased. I do a little bit of a shading underneath the eyelids just to give the eyes some roundness. So they're not completely white. You give them a little bit of depth and roundness. You can go in and smooth these later. You go in around the pupil and you make a C shape, and this gives the illusion of light hitting the pupil directly. You also darken the iris at the top a little bit because there is always going to be a darker color than the rest of the eyeball. Make sure these are level. You can finish up the eye by shading the spot between the lid and the bridge of the nose, marking the top of the lid a little darker, and adding some shade on the outer edges of the eye. You make these little dots that extend a tiny bit in that shadow of a nose. You make tiny dots on the corners of the lips and draw a very light line across. Darken the top of the lip, not the entire top, just a little bit to give it some roundness. Then we go around the entire edge of the face and give it some shadow. This will give the illusion of it being pushed back. You do the exact same thing on the other side. If the face is in a different position, obviously shadows will be in different places. This kind of looks like a beard right now, but when we smooth it out, it'll look better. You round off the edges of the eyes. You don't have to outline the entire eye. Just give a hint of a shadow underneath, and that gives the idea. Then we go under the chin and we make the darkest shadow. And you make this all the way across. And also you can make it a little rounder so that it mirrors the shape of the chin. Or in this case, I made it straight across, just to make it easier for the first time. Do a little bit of shading on the edges of the neck, just a tiny bit, and a lot darker underneath the chin. See, and this one is a little rounder than the first shadow. Now I use my smoothing tool and I go over all of the shadows and smooth them out. And here are the finishing touches. Make sure you make it as smooth as possible. We can always go back with the pencil. So you go in and you make some details. The ears have this little flap at the top and a little bit, so you have to just make a bit of a suggested line. It doesn't have to be an exact ear. And go in and darken the spots that you've missed with a medium-sized pencil, and go in and darken the details that you want. For example, the tops of the eyes where the lashes are going to be, the edges of the iris. Same thing on the other side. Darken the top of the iris because that top of the iris is darker because of the eyelids. Then you go in and you darken the tops of the lids, and that gives the impression that they are deep. Same thing with the mouth. The edges of the mouth are always darker. The bottom of the lip. The lower part of the chin, so under the chin, is the darkest. And that gives the impression that the chin pops out from under the neck, from over the neck. And the eyebrows, you smudge in. You're not really making individual hairs. And then with the thinnest pencil, you can go into even more detail and make lashes. The middle lashes always go straight up, and as you go towards the outside of the eye, they go out. So on the left, you go towards the left. On the right, you go towards the right. Middle, go to the top. Right, go out to the right. And you can make as little or as many eyelashes as you like, depending on the look that you want to express. I do very little eyelashes on the bottom, but that's my personal choice. You can do as much as you like. And also you can go in and darken the inner part of the eye as well. And voila, we are finished. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And I'll see you next time. Bye.